It's time for the battle against Kyle A. Team builder in the description and in the card in the top right. Make sure to like the video if you guys are excited for today's battle, and let's get right into it. Alright, opposing trainer has been found. It is very, very late for me. I will warn. Okay, let's take a look at this team. No Hisui and Gudra, which is actually very, very good for me. Alright, let's take a look at this matchup here. I kind of think Dragapult is like the obvious lead. I think Qwilfish, the Hisuian Qwilfish is pretty likely. One of the things that's good to note is this Iron Hands is actually meant for Meloetta, so that might be something we can also lead with. I don't really see it likely that he leads with Hawlucha. I think I kind of do want to lead Iron Hands. If he does lead Hawlucha, then we go straight into the Palisand. That gives us an opportunity to get up our Stealth Rocks. So I actually really like leading off here with Iron Hands, as it becomes just a tiny bit more expendable in this spot, and it does allow me to put a lot of pressure on that Qwilfish spot immediately, as it's going to be difficult for him to really attack me, and I can put a lot of damage up very quickly on it with the Earthquake, unless this thing gets like Levitate or something, and I just completely forgot about that ability. Yeah, it's just the same abilities. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay. Let's get going. Good luck, have fun to Kyle. Man, we got this stupid backdrop again. Alright, he's going to leave with the Gastrodon. That's interesting. Obviously, I'm not really inclined to stay in on this Gastrodon. I could come into something like... I don't really have like a solid switch in for Gastrodon in general. I can go into something like the Dragapult. Problem is, like, I kind of would need to have gone into the Volcarona in Terra Water before I do that. I don't want to get Toxic here immediately. This is actually kind of an awkward starting position. I'm going to just go into the UXIE immediately. Obviously this Choice Scarf UXIE is going to be really, really important this game for the Baxcalibur specifically, but I'm expecting something like an Earth Power here or Earth Hazards. He's going to immediately switch out, which is interesting, so he's just scared of that. Alright, this Skeledirge is in, and we are Choice Scarf, so we actually are just going to U-turn here. Pretty much off the bat, there's no real risk to U-turning here. We get potentially to see some information here about what set this could be. I don't expect something like Choice Scarf Skeledirge to ever be coming here. I mean, it's, you know, obviously piss slow. Even if it does come, it's not going to outspeed. But this is a good opportunity to go right back into something like the Iron Hands again. We're very specially bulky, and he is just gonna U-turn. So I'm expecting something like a Shadow Ball coming out here. They could Will-O-Wisp, which would be a problem. Obviously on this, I could go into something. Well, I can't really go into this, obviously. I could go into the, what is it called? The Diancie, and I think Diancie's setup spikes might be my best play. Might be my best immediate play here. Once again, I have to be mindful of my checks to Baxcalibur not taking, you know, an infinite amount of damage, and then Torch Song comes out that should do like 3 damage at most. Yeah, that's going to do absolutely nothing. It is going to raise the special attack, which obviously is going to be a little bit frustrating to see, but I mean, that's what the move is. It's always going to raise that. Now, he could be something like Seed Bomb. I don't really see that being a possibility. I kind of just want to set up my spikes here. I don't think there's a reason for him to stay in, and I want to just start getting my own hazards going here. And he's just going to withdraw. Yeah, so we know that this Skeledirge has Torch Song now. We know it's not something like Lefties. He goes into the Gastrodon, which is big, and we get our first layer of spikes up. So that's going to be really important to start putting some pressure on his team, especially something like this Gastrodon. Now the question here is, we did go into the UXIE first last time. Does that really change the play? He was also scared out by my Iron Hands last time, so that's some interesting information to gather from that turn. Am I sending a water move? Once again, like, I do need to be very, very mindful of how I use my UXIE in this game, because I want to make sure I don't get, you know, absolutely L2P'd. I don't want to get L2P'd by Baxcalibur, and we get disconnected here immediately. That is unfortunate. Alright, we have remade the battle up to this point. There was like 3 turns, so it doesn't actually matter. But we got our spikes up here. which is pretty crucial. And I've had some time to think about this turn and kind of how I want to play, and I think I'm just going to go straight into my UXIE. Once again, as I've said, we really need to be smart on how we utilize this UXIE, because we need to maintain that Encore ability into the Back's Caliber. That is very important for this game. And he's just going to set up his own spikes, which is interesting. It's going to be pretty important on my Dragapult. I think it could be likely. I can't really Encore. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'm just going to U-turn again, see if he wants to stay in. He's just going to withdraw. Yeah, so I think, you know, it's likely that I have something to hit that in his mind, and that is this is kind of the first opportunity I get to get our good friend Dragapult into the game. Now, I could risk Dragapult. That would be, you know, is a potential option. I can get in my Terra Water Volcarona, though I want to save that kind of for a sweep in the end game. I don't think really now is the time to start going for a sweep. I can go into something like the, what was it called? The Iron Hands, and just click an Earthquake. Earthquake is pretty free here, especially with Palisand in the back as an option. I'm just going to go into this, actually. I think it's kind of my best option. We do have the speed here to put the pressure on this Skeledirge with Earthquake, so this might be telegraphing a little bit what I'm trying to do, but I think certainly will probably work out for me. Honestly, I think risking something like a Ghost Berry here early on, especially with spikes up, is not really something that I'm interested in doing. And wow, he is faster, so he does have a little extra speed, and he does miss the Will-O-Wisp, so that's really unfortunate. Wow, he's actually super bulky here. Okay, so that is actually really good to know. So he's more of a physically defensive set, so that it's kind of a get out of jail free card on that one, just a little bit, with the fact that we try to outspeed a lower speed set, or a quicker set, but luckily for us he misses, so it's unfortunate for Kyle here that happened. And because of that, I'm just going to go back into my Diancie here now. I'm expecting the Willow to probably come out, which means that my specially attacking Diancie is probably going to be fine to just take the Willow here. The problem now is that this is not really an effective check to the Back's Caliber anymore, which is really problematic. And this Gastrodon has been kind of annoying into how it's made me play early on. So what is likely to come out here? Probably the Gastrodon. I can set up another layer of spikes. That's really going to start to open up this Volcarona pretty quickly if I get this spikes up here. It's going to be difficult for my opponent to win the game. Now I got to find a way to set up, or a location, an opportunity to set up. I could just, you know, Earth Power or Power Gem here. Both are, you know, valid options. Spikes, I kind of want. The problem is the second layer of spikes is not that valuable to me. I'm just going to continue to spike up here. I think, yeah, there's kind of no reason for him to stay in. And he's just going to keep going to Gastrodon. I can just get up another layer of spikes. I can get really aggressive here. And wow, he is actually not boots on Gastrodon, which is actually pretty important here. It's going to make its longevity very, you know, it's going to have, you know, low longevity throughout the rest of the game, and that is leftovers that we see. So that's going to make it really difficult for it to come in against something like the, what is it called, the Dragapult in the long term. I could just get up the rest of my spikes and kind of sack this off as a spiker, but once again, that Skeledirge in the back makes me not inclined to not do that. I don't really want to go into Volcarona now and Terra. That wouldn't be, I think, the greatest use of a turn. I could get in my Dragapult. I think it's pretty likely here the Dragapult has a decent opportunity to do some good damage here. I'm just going to continue to go UXIE. If he wants to set up a layer of spikes, I am taking a lot of damage to do this, but once again, I'm the one with the, you know, I have, you know, still a lot of powerful setup options, and he's just going to set up a spike here, and I've kind of U-turned every time, but that I think I'm kind of content to continue to do that. This is going to get pretty much back up to full here. Once again, I do have like mystical power. I can eventually just start attacking through this, and once we set up the spikes, we're kind of in a good spot. So I'm just going to U-turn here, see what Kyle's looking to do. These spikes are going to be becoming a problem, and I kind of haven't had probably could have played this a little bit better to keep spikes off my side of the field, and probably got a little more aggressive with Iron Hands. Is probably the most likely thing I should have done, I think, in this spot. I'm thinking about how this game has gone and how I should have played it. And he is going to stay in, which is, it's not of a real concern. Question is, I can't really put Dragapult into damage range here at any point. He could just set up the last layer of spikes. Is very much a possibility. Yeah, I really need to be mindful with Dragapult here. I can go into something like hands. He's definitely not hitting a ground move here. And then I can hit a close combat off on this thing and start to do some damage with Drain Punch. I think I'm going to do that. I have to be really mindful of my Dragapult's health now at this point. It's, you know, kind of allowed it to take a lot of damage. And he's just going to use Recover. Okay, so he's just scouting for damage here. That's perfectly fine. What I kind of expect here is I expect something like the Skeleturge to come in. It's kind of the obvious play here. So if I Earthquake, Skeleturge is put into a really awkward spot. He could Earth Power, but then I can start Drain Punching after. He could get really aggressive here and to go into Hawlucha. That's like a potential possibility, but that's one I can easily punish with my own Switch Out. So I'm just going to Earthquake here. He seemed pretty scared of this the last time this was in. And maybe I should have read on that play and made that kind of play to this a little bit earlier. And he's going to be Heavy Duty Boots on this, which is crucial, and I think that's going to be a crit. That's not actually not, so it looks like just the rolls are just kind of going in my favor that way. So the question here is, I can take a Willow here. That's probably what Kyle is looking to do. You can go into Baxcalibur, so this could be an opportunity for Baxcalibur to set up a few Willows and I kill this. You might see this as a setup opportunity for Baxcalibur and I can get that Encore off. So I think I'm just going to Earthquake because I need to pick up some kills and some headway. And he's just going to slack off here, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to keep up the damage pressure on this thing. So he is gaining a decent amount off of that. And I could... So now that I know that it's Boots, the problem is I don't think I can bring in Dragapult and actually do a lot of damage. I can't actually... It's not actually going to kill here is the problem. If he recovers, he's going to recover to about 60. If he hexes, and I'm in a bad spot, I'm just going to attack again. He's probably going to slack off, yeah. And kind of force Kyle in a position to use most of his slack offs here, actually. And he is going to Will-O-Wisp here. Okay, interesting. So that makes sense to break serve a little bit. I can take the burn perfectly fine. I think there's like a small chance this kills, and if it doesn't kill, yeah. So the thing is here is it is likely going to slack off, but this is a free switch in to my Dragapult actually, because this is going to kill basically most Dragapults. So this is going to kill like it can kill a Spidef one. I think it's likely physically defensive, and I mean if he hexes here or Shadow Balls, that's a really good play. But I don't expect them to make that play after Willowing here, so I'm just going to get really aggressive and go into my Dragapult. I think there's a likelihood chance that I can still live this anyway, even with 2 spikes up, given that he seemed to be real to be a much more defensive set. And yeah, he is just going to slack off okay perfectly. So we kind of took advantage of that play here. We set it up. We had to take a burn to set it up, but we set up a really good Shadow Ball turn here. So we're just going to click Shadow Ball. There's no reason to get over predicting. No reason to get crazy with anything here. Just click the buttons that come out here. It's going to be the Hisuian Quillfish, so that was kind of to be expected. He's going to take the spikes damage, and he's going to intimidate me. That's perfectly fine. Not really worried about that at all. And I get a defense... Okay, I get a Spidef drop. This is actually like an opportunity, I think, for me to Draco Meteor this thing. So Draco Meteor actually probably does kill now from this range because of that drop, so that's actually really unfortunate for Kyle here. So I think I might actually just take that opportunity to drop a Draco on this thing because of that Spidef drop. He's probably going to feel like he has to switch out now to preserve this, and something's going to have to eat this Draco Meteor pretty quickly. I mean, there's not much... that's just like a really unfortunate position for him to be in. He can probably just go to Dash Bun pretty freely, to be honest. But he is going to let me Draco Meteor this thing, and that is going to drop. So Dragapult is going to pick up this Hisuian, is going to pick up the Hisuian Quillfish. So big there. Prevents something like Toxic Spikes from coming out here. Now, this could be an opportunity for Kyle to go into Baxcalibur and try to set up. And we're going to, yeah, there it is. Good old Baxcalibur. But this is what the prep is for. This is what the UXIE prep was specifically for, was this, specific situation. We kind of drew this up in prep. He can click the DD, he can click sub, but all of that will just get nullified by Scarf Encore. here. So yeah, that's a really unfortunate. I feel really bad for Kyle on that one, because that was that could have been a roll depending on his set. He could have, you know, potentially have lived that, but that spin up drop really puts him in a bad position here, given my specific prep. And I mean, he's not going to know that, obviously, coming in here. He's not going to know that I have this specific UXIE to take advantage of this specific situation. So he's probably considering whether he wants to set up or not. Trying to think of what my play would be to take advantage of that. And I'm just going to withdraw here. So let's see what he does. And he is going to Terra, so we do get the Terra information here. I'm expecting Terra Dragon is the most likely. Because he wants to remove... Yeah, he's just going to Terra Dragon here. So he wants to remove that Ice typing. Of course, the Ice typing is a little bit more problematic in the mid-game here. So let's see if he likes to just Glaive Rush here. Okay, so he's just going to attack. It's going to do a million damage here. I do have... That is Choice Banded. I'm like fairly certain that has to be Choice Banded here. Yeah, that looks to be a Choice Banded Baxcalibur. So a little bit different than the Baxcalibur that we had predicted. But that gives me a free opportunity to go into my Diancie here. And this is actually really good information to get now. That means that this Pokemon will be easy to check basically at any point in this game with my Dragapult, which is really important. And let's see if he just elects to Glaive Rush again. He does, and because it's Choice Banded, we're definitely going to be able to get up this final layer of spikes, which is going to be oh so important in this matchup. And once again, Diancie, now that we know what this Pokemon is, not something I'm really too particularly concerned with letting go here. I think we're fine to just let it go, and I'm just going to get my final layer of spikes. And that basically is just going to confirm this is CB Baxcalibur, as they are going to go into the Gastrodon, and we get up our final layer of spikes. So stuff like Dash Bund, Skeledirge, and Hawlucha once again now is going to be another problem you have to be really mindful of here. So keep that in mind for the end game. But it's looking to be, I think, a pretty good opening here at some point for the... What is it called? It's going to be looking pretty good here for Volcarona at kind of some point here in this game. Like, +1 Bug Buzz is going to just basically nuke the Baxcalibur eventually, so this could be an opportunity for us to set up on this thing soon. Obviously, he could be fearing the Giga Drain, go and, set out while I do this. So I think I'm just going to Moonblast and sack this thing off. Just see if I can do as much damage as I can. If I get some Spin F drops, yeah. If I start fishing a few Spin F drops, it's going to be really easy for me to potentially set up on my opponent's team. And once again, there's not really much I can do about these hazards. I mean, this is kind of going to be a spike stack game regardless. And I am Boots on Volcarona, which I think is the win game we're playing to now. So if I Moonblast again, what is the likely punish? I think there's like a pretty decent chance he just clicks a Water move here. The Water move covers this, it covers the UXIE pretty effectively, and if he just attacks and tries to kill this, and I get, I can just bring in Volcarona and just, start going for game, essentially. So I'm just going to Moonblast again and see what happens. I'm pretty content to just sack this thing off. But he's just going to be smart and play the recover game here. Kind of a no-risk play for him to do that. I'd like to really see what his last move is before this kind of sequence ends. I could also get up my Stealth Rocks here. That would be something that would be important to consider doing at some point. Though I'm at this point, I mean, I have to sack this thing off because of the triple spikes. There's not really much value I'm going to get out of using it. He is going to be Earthquake, okay. So Earthquake down. So this could be a potential window for Volcarona to come set up and start doing some fun stuff. He could be Toxic as, a move here. That's very much a possibility. I could just come into something like the... I can't really go into Dragapult and drop a Draco. That's not really an effective use of a turn here. So I think my best bet here... The problem is, even if I set up... I think I just set up and go... I go into this, I get my Terra Water off, and I set up a Quiver Dance and just kind of try to go from there. Because this will give me, you know, if he's toxic, then that. The thing is, these things don't even get toxic, really, do they anymore? I'm gonna Terra Water and Quiver Dance here, and hopefully this gets me a little bit further. And he's gonna withdraw, hopefully into something like the Excalibur, the Cream Field. So I'm gonna assume that's gonna be the Dash Bun. Yeah, it's gonna take Spikes damage, which is crucial. So this should be a 2-hit KO unless it's leftovers after this layer of spikes, because of this setup here, because of this Quiver Dance. So it is going to be leftovers here, but I think there's like a pretty decent shot that the Terra Blast just does a bunch of damage here. Does this thing get anything crazy that could potentially ruin this? You could have something like Yawn or Roar here. I'm just going to click Terra Blast and try to do as much damage as possible. I think that's going to put me in the best position to win this game, is just to attack this thing. And yeah, that's going to be a 2-hit KO range, so he's got to be Roar here. Yeah, Roar basically had to come out there, otherwise it was going to be pretty dire straits for our opponent here. I like doing something Iron Hands. Palisand's kind of frustrating here. Really want to keep this one alive. So this is going to have something like a Wish, I think, here, most likely. We do have the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb's actually going to do a lot of damage here. And so I could see on a switch, you know, potentially him predicting a Wish. You know, a Wish trying to predict a switch, and I can kind of catch him off guard here with the Sludge Bomb. And if I Sludge Bomb, what does he really go into? He doesn't really have much of a reasonable option to apply around the Sludge Bomb. And yeah, he is just going to go for the Wish. And this Sludge Bomb is going to do a lot of damage and basically pick up that Dash Bun. Wow, Palisand actually picking up a kill in this matchup. Kind of funny how that works. Now, what's unfortunate about this spot in particular is that he's going to get to go into Skeleturge. And he's going to get to do, potentially, I mean, if he has something like Protect, that's a good opportunity for him there to get into Skeleturge and get some health back. But he could go into something, he could go into Excalibur too, but we know that's CB. He's going to go into this thing, okay. He's going to go into the Hawlucha, which I'm kind of okay with. I mean, this is kind of what I was hoping for, honestly, and like for the most part. He could set up an ST, but once again, I am Rocky Helmet, and I do have Choice Scarf. I do have Choice Scarf UXIE here in the back to kind of manage this, so I'm just going to Sludge Bomb, hopefully get a poison here. And they're just going to elect to bulk up, okay. So poison here would be actually very, very nice. And I am going to get the poison. Wow, I'm just kind of getting everything I need, honestly, in this game right now, which is really, really unfortunate for Kyle. Like, this game's just not going his way at all. So he's going to get the Wish back. But because of my item here, because of my Rocky Helmet, there's kind of not much he can do to me here. I can kind of just keep attacking, and because of the poison and because of the Rocky Helmet, you know, he's just going to Brave Bird, but because of Rocky Helmet, wow, that's going to do a lot of damage. But, you know, with the recoil and with this, you know, secondary Sludge Bomb, like this Pokemon is basically now dead on the next attack to the Palisand. Yeah, so he can attack and, you know, lose this thing, which, you know, would be fine for me. I think what do I want to do if he doesn't attack what I want the result to be? Probably just Shore Up. He's just going to attack, like there's no reason for him not to. I'm just going to Shore Up, and if he, you know, preserves this, then he preserves it. But Hawlucha is going to get my Palisand. But Palisand is going to get this Hawlucha. And we're at a very, very simplistic endgame here, in where I think I just bring Dragapult out here 1,000,000%. Like, there's no real reason not to bring it out. And as soon as the Gastrodon comes in, I set up another Quiver. I set up a Quiver Dance, and I think I should win the game from here. I think is what likely is going to happen. He's just going to send up the Coldest. Yeah, so that's going to be the Excalibur. But my Dragapult, he's going to be faster. That is CB, so we are going to be able to pick something off here. I think if he Glaive Rushes, so I mean, I think I just click Draco Meteor here. I think the risk of him staying in randomly is just too high, and if he goes into Gastrodon, But I think that's perfectly okay, then we're good with that. Oh, is this Choice Scarf? Okay. Maybe I miscalced that, actually. I think I might have miscalced that as being Choice Scarf, which I think is still fine because I have... okay, I think I might have met... we're a little bit of a particular spot here, actually. This is kind of a problem. I really... yeah, because if I... Yeah, it could just be Adam and Scarf. Okay. I think I might actually potentially lose this game now. I'm just gonna foul play this. It's gonna do... Wow. That actually killed. Okay, so it's... I'm confused at how that outsped. I'll have to ask Kyle about the team after. But wow. Alright, UXIE killed by the Baxcalibur. And at this point, then this is just a win here for the... This is going to have to just be a win for Volcarona. There's not really going to be much else to consider about that. Wow, I'm really confused at that set. So it probably is, unless it's like Quick Claw or something crazy. It must be. Maybe it is. Maybe there's probably something like blatantly obvious that I'm missing in this like specific instance. And it looks like Kyle's just going to elect to bring this out. But if I go now into... Might as well just go into the Iron Hands and sack this thing off. Because I can just go in and Quiver Dance. I can even just start Mystical Powering, you know, and set up Quiver Dance. But it looks like I think we might have won this game. Really, really odd game. I really need to watch this one back and see and kind of rethink a little bit how this was played. Because I'm not like immediately confident in how I played this one. Well, I'm just going to CC. I don't think I really have much of an option besides close combating. He's just going to go into Skeledirge, which to me feels like even more of a setup fodder. I probably could have predicted an Earthquake, but once again, this is like kind of... This Skeledirge with Torch Song Wisp is pretty much setup fodder for my Gastrodon, so... Or for my... What is it called? Volcarona, so... I'm kind of just okay if he elects to attack here. Well, there's nothing really much I can do about this, so I'm just going to keep Earthquaking. He's just going to Torch Song, which is fine. Wow, I'm actually going to live that and be able to deal a little bit more damage on the way out here, which actually might put this in range of Terra Blast. It might actually just be straight up raw in range of Terra Blast, which would be kind of nice. Not that I think it really matters too much, because if I just deal a bunch of damage, I can then come straight back into my Scarf Mystical Power. UXIE, at that point, is there really any risk of Quiver Dancing here? I don't want to like slow roll Kyle here in this spot. Oh, he's probably unaware, so that might actually not accomplish much. So I'm just going to Terra Blast. I think it's probably just the most reasonable play I have. He could switch out here, which would be a good play on his part, but I'm just going to take this attack and claim this kill. Yeah, and there we go. Skeledirge is down, and with Gastrodon last mod, I think it's going to be, pretty clear what the end result here is going to be against this Gastrodon. I can just set up freely on this thing. There's really no risk that I have. Yeah, because these Bug Buzzes are obviously not doing much, but, I mean, I have to be able to beat the recovers, so. We'll just set up here a little bit, see what Kyle likes to do. Yeah, he's just going to keep Earthquaking. And once again, with my bulk, it's not really too big a deal. So, 2 of these should kill at this point, is most likely. And I can also recover if need be with the Morning Sun here. Oh, and that's just gonna crit. Wow, okay. Oh my god, I feel bad. I feel like there was just a lot of hacks on Kyle's. Unfortunately for me here, I likely win that endgame anyway, but it is what it is. We'll take what we can get, and that is going to be a big 2-0 win against Kyle A and the Miami Dawn fan. Really good game for Kyle. I think his prep was actually pretty good here, and I don't think I was as prepared as I probably could have been. I don't know if I wasn't as prepared as I could have been for some of the things, but certainly could have played some of these turns maybe a little bit better against what he had brought. But going to 4-1 on this season is very, very huge. Volcarona, once again, just a clutch MVP. That UXIE set has just in the lab cooked that one up, and that, you know, the MVP of the match, honestly, just killing that Max Caliber from that position. You know, really just like an amazing result of that UXIE set, really taking advantage of that spot. So that is week number 5. And that is week number 5 in the books for the BBR. A big win there against Kyle A. One thing that I didn't even realize in the commentary, and this is why I don't play games at 2 a.m., is the Glaive Rush having the defense, which is obviously what the UXIE killed in that situation. Not something that Kyle is obviously going to prepare for. Chili Scarf UXIE, so that's once again proven to be just amazing in the matchup. Next week we play against T-Bro Price, and we're entering the final 3 games of the season. And these are 3 games that are going to be difficult for me, particularly because I'm going to be on vacation actually for a week and a half. Coming up into this part of the schedule. I actually had the same thing come up in NCP actually to end my week, 6 to 8. So difficult way to end the season, but that's why you put yourself in these positions early on. Win your games early, so if things like this come up, you can cruise through the end. And I'm really confident in my matchups, my last 3 matchups. So hopefully we can go strong into playoffs. I'm really hoping to finish in the top 3. That'll at least give me some agency and choice over my matchups, but we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys enjoyed today's battle. If you're coming here from Kyle's channel, or if you're just coming from the BBR Discord, or catching this from the suggested page, make sure to like the video if you haven't up to this point, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next video, and as always, have a wonderful day.